Yo, what's going on? This is Matt, and welcome to another video. We're going to discuss exactly which fats are the healthiest to cook with based on their fatty acid composition. One thing to get out of the way real quick is trans fats. Trans fats are basically anything that's hydrogenated, which is a process of passing hydrogen through any oil, which is a man-made oil. It's an artificial fat, and it turns out these are extremely damaging for your health. Basically, I have this example here, which is conventional peanut butter. On the label, it says fully hydrogenated vegetable oil. Anytime you see the word hydrogenated on the label, you basically want to stay as far away from that as possible. These fats are killers, and they never should have been in the human food supply. Now, before we jump into the polyunsaturated fatty acids, I do want to clarify that all natural oils are combinations of monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated fatty acids. The first class of fatty acids that we're going to be discussing are the polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are called polyunsaturated because they have two or more double bonds within their molecular structure. These are further classified into either omega-3 or omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3s include ALA, EPA, and DHA. Omega-6s include linoleic acid, linoleic acid, and GLA, which stands for gamma-linolenic acid. Historically, humans have maintained a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of omega-6 to omega-3 acids. These days, however, in the Western diet, the ratio can get as high as 20-to-1. Now, why did that ratio get so high in the Western diet? The best reason is that most modern vegetable oils contain far too much omega-6 or linoleic acid. And while we need a little bit of this acid, basically now we're getting far too much compared to what we used to get historically. Besides the concern of balancing the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, polyunsaturated fatty acids have very poor oxidative stability. This means that when they're heated to high temperatures, they can degrade into toxic byproducts such as cyclic aldehydes and other free radicals. Unfortunately, industrial vegetable oils are now one of the leading causes of ill health and chronic disease in the Western diet. They've been strongly associated with inflammation, as well as cellular, metabolic, and mitochondrial dysfunction. Now let's take a look at some specific oils that are high in polyunsaturated fats. The first two that we're going to take a look at, in my opinion, shouldn't even really be in the food supply, and that's soy and cottonseed oils. Soy contains phytoestrogens, phytates, enzyme inhibitors, and even anti-nutrients such as saponins, lectins, and oxalates, and that's in addition to it being high in omega-6 and GMO and pesticide concerns as well. The second oil, cottonseed oil, was actually America's original vegetable oil. Unfortunately, it has to be refined to eliminate gossypol, a toxic substance, and that's in addition to it being very high in pesticide residues and most likely GMO as well. Now that we've got those two taken care of, we have some other oils such as corn, safflower, sunflower, and pumpkinseed oil, which are very high in omega-6s, usually somewhere around 50 to 75%. This is the high category of polyunsaturated fat oils, and these ones should definitely not be used as cooking oils. Peanut oil, rice bran oil, and sesame oil are slightly better than the first four, but they're still fairly high in PUFAs at around 30 to 40%. One specific oil, flaxseed oil, has long been thought of as a very healthy oil. However, flaxseed oil illustrates the problem with oils that are high in polyunsaturated fatty acids. Basically, flaxseed oil has a very short shelf life and does not respond well to heat at all, and so it can easily go rancid, thereby deleting its nutritional value. Now, which fats should you cook with instead? First, we're going to look at the monounsaturated fatty acids. These fatty acids are called mono because they always only have one double bond within their molecular structure. Olive oil has a ratio of around 77% monounsaturated fats to about 9% polyunsaturated. Avocado oil has only been around since the late 1990s, but it has a similar ratio of around 71% monounsaturated fats to about 13% polyunsaturated. Other oils that can be classified as monounsaturated include macadamia nut oil, almond oil, and hazelnut oil. All five of these oils generally have high levels of antioxidants and low refinement, which helps them to resist free radicals when exposed to higher temperatures. One quick thing to note is that oils that are high in monounsaturated fats are also high in what's known as omega-9. These are referred to as high oleic oils. Two of the oils I mentioned earlier, safflower and sunflower, also have high oleic versions, which are far lower in polyunsaturated fats and far higher in monounsaturated fats. From the best of my knowledge right now, these high oleic versions of both safflower and sunflower are far better for you than the original versions. One real quick special note on canola oil. First of all, its real name is rapeseed, and even though it's been touted as healthy due to its being high in monounsaturated fat, it actually contains a toxic compound called erucic acid. Consuming canola oil has been linked to high levels of inflammation, as well as worsened eyesight, memory, and learning ability. To make a long story short, don't do it. The last class of fatty acids that we'll be discussing today are the saturated fatty acids. These fats are generally solid at room temperature, they're not vulnerable to oxidation, and so they're the best to use when cooking at high heat. Saturated fats for decades were touted as being unhealthy for both your heart and your overall well-being. However, a recent meta-analysis of over 70 published studies noted that there is no association between high levels of saturated fat in the diet and heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. The best historically verified examples of saturated fat cooking oils include ghee, also known as clarified butter, beef tallow, cocoa butter, coconut oil, and palm kernel oil. These saturated fats all have around 1 to 4% polyunsaturated fatty acids. A little higher in the PUFA count, but still good, are pork lard, duck fat, goose fat, bison tallow, and standard palm oil at around 10 to 12% PUFAs. Chicken and turkey fat, however, are a little higher at around 20 to 25% PUFAs, so they're not quite as good of animal fats to cook with. One really important note with animal fats is that animals must be fed their correct natural diet in order for their fatty acids to be health promoting. Grass-fed beef versus corn-fed beef is a great example of this. When beef is fed grass, their original diet, their fatty acids in the tissues are actually more omega-3 and less omega-6, whereas when they're fed corn and soy, they're more omega-6 and less omega-3. Now that we've reviewed the three fatty acid groups, this basically concludes our video. If you're interested in getting the latest information on how to take care of your brain the natural way, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video today and look forward to seeing you next time.